My name is Hadrien Zerah. I am managing director of Nomadic Labs. We are a French company based in Paris, 70 people, and we have 3 different departments. One big department for those who don't know yet us, building and maintaining, updating the Tezos protocol with 45 PhDs, computing scientists. And we also have a very classical department with human resources, finance, etc., taking care of the company on a day-to-day basis. And we also have a last department which is called Adoption Tech Support, which is accompanying a lot of different companies, and some of those companies are present with us today in developing a decentralized application on top of Tezos. So I will be moderating this panel today, and I will let my colleagues and panelists present themselves. So maybe Louis, if you want to start.
Yes, thank you, Hadrien. Do you hear me well? Yes, I can hear myself. I'm Louis Garoche. I'm a lead blockchain technical developer at the Ubisoft blockchain initiative in the Strategic Innovation Lab since 3 years and a half. And I've been working on the various prototypes and actual projects that we did at Ubisoft, some NFT projects in early 2020 on Ethereum, a collaboration with Zerah, with the One Shot League. So it was a game experience around Zerah. And more recently, you may have heard about the Quartz NFT platform that released in December, and we are still working on it to make it evolve. So I'm pretty much involved in that, and also doing some research around everything new that's coming into the crypto space and Tezos, but also unrelated, and there's a lot of work to do.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Jorick Lartigau. I'm the CTO of Sceme. We are a Web3 solution provider. So far we work in different sectors, I would say, in finance, but also around the NFT space. We developed a platform to pilot and manage stablecoin, namely, on different chains and on Tezos, and we work with different corporates mainly to develop projects in various spheres and various tech, I would say. So as for myself, I'm like a developer, 100%, different chain, different technologies, and we are pretty much agnostic in what we are doing, but we are building a solution that's here for scalability and empower what you can do today in the Web3 spheres.
Well, hello everyone, I'm Pierre, and I'm the operation lead of the Lugh company. So I joined the team a few months before launch, and I previously worked for Groupe Casino, the major retailer. And well, about Lugh, we launched the first reliable Euro stablecoin, which is 100% fiat-backed, and we launched it in partnership with Société Générale and also Deloitte, a big 4 audit firm, which certifies each month the one-to-one parity of our stablecoin, and we issued it on Tezos, obviously.
And again, Bilal, co-founder and CTO of Dogami. Play a known game based on 3D avatar dogs, where you have to get your puppy from puppy to adult, just like Tamagotchi or Nintendogs.
So this panel is about dApps, and we're going to talk about the different experiences of the panelists with Tezos and building a decentralized application on Tezos. So my first question will be for you, Jorick. You've been working on several projects on Tezos. The first one in partnership with Lugh to develop this Euro stablecoin. But I know that you also developed NFT marketplace, which is a white label solution. We are in discussion with Tezos Foundation to deploy maybe something within the health industry. My question is the following. Why did you choose to deploy this application, the decentralized application on Tezos as the first choice?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like there's 2 sides of answers I could give. Like as a developer and as the clients I'm working for. As a developer, I mean, we've seen during these past days like the tremendous advantages that you can have on Tezos versus others, such as like the green impact, the fact that the protocol can be updated and it's in constant evolution to adapt the needs to what actually we need to develop. So these are like key factors that, as for developers, they are really like important and they feel right. And from a corporate perspective, from the client, because at the end it's the client that pilots the technical choices, Tezos has this French flavor, I would say, that really works, and in the fact that there's the close connection with Nomadic, you know. When you speak to corporates that have like a long-term service that already run for many years, and they have like already a market, they already have like their clients, something like a real big settlement, it's a very leap of faith for them to move towards blockchain technology. There's like a lot of apprehension and a lot of like risk and liabilities that they try to reduce and diminish. So they are looking for solutions and for an ecosystem where they will feel basically safe, you know. They always bet for the safe choice. And as for today, like they're really entitled to the fact that, okay, Tezos is did it, Tezos is many things, it's green and whatsoever, but for them it's the safe bet, the safe choice, you know. Like they better go, and they prefer to go on Tezos as for today. I mean, some of them, for example, in the health industry, where it's strongly regulated, where there's like a strong, like I would say, global audit of everything that's what's kind of happening and all the technical choices. Really, Tezos is like the safe bet for them. Even though they are not like blockchain knowledgeable, they still learn and heard about Tezos in a positive way. And the fact that it's like really strongly implemented in France, it's also like a strong vector point for them, and they're keen to go to this kind of, like Tezos technology.
Thank you. Louis. So we had the pleasure to, can you hear me well? Yeah. So we had the pleasure to work together around the Quartz platform project. Sometimes it was difficult. But we've been collaborating with several teams of the Tezos ecosystem to have this project becoming live. So my question is, what do you think, what advantage you think there are building a platform like Quartz on top of Tezos? And I also would like to know what were the difficulties you and your team encountered using Tezos to build this platform.
Yeah, of course. Well, for the advantages, I jumped some of the arguments of Jorick about the blockchain itself, but also for the background, we started the Quartz platform initially on, we were looking at different solutions, different chains, we weren't sure. In the end, we went for a prototype, a first version on Polygon, so EVM, Ethereum contracts, etc. And then there were many things like that we weren't sure how it would go, etc. And then we tried to build it on Tezos, and it would fit a lot of ticks, checkboxes, all the ecological impact, of course, these kind of things, but also what I like to call the greenfield development. It means like it's a smaller ecosystem. You have all the actors are much more accessible. So we had through your hub direct access to wallet providers, marketplace operators, so and also core developers. So we could have advices from people that knew how the protocol really worked, knew how things should be done the proper way. And also we could have an impact on how it will be done also. So it's very nice to have, instead of on other platforms, Ethereum, Polygon, to just have to follow how it's done. So if you want to build something on Ethereum right now, either you have a very strong voice and you impose a new standard, or you just follow like a sheep, and no one likes to be a sheep. So it was very nice to have this greenfield development and to have this impact. The second thing is that the Tezos platform is very reliable. So actually it just works out of the box, and there is improvements continuously being developed by the Tezos community and the core developers, and it's also very reliable. Like every 3 months you have an upgrade, and every time they announce something, it will happen, and it's actually quite a surprise how fast they can implement new things and how stable they are in time. I've also doing a bit of comparison with what I hear in other technologies. You hear a lot of announcements, but then nothing happens. Like almost very recently, I've heard a very write email from Polygon saying ZK EVM is here, the wait is over. It was the title of the actual page, and then you scroll. Okay, where is the RPC endpoint or something like that? And in the end, enter your email to get the news when it will be launched. So okay, so just another announcement. This is a bit frustrating as a developer, but when you want to build something, you don't want to get announcements. You want to actually build. And with Tezos, you just have to follow, and it will be there. It will be concrete things. And about the difficulties, because this greenfield development also have some downsides. Of course, you have less toolings, less. The standards have not been went through a lot of usage, so there are still something that are difficult. For example, when we had to mint many items at once, it was hard to make a stable minter. So something that does a lot of transactions at once. For example, there is when you use on Ethereum, that's to broadcast a bunch of transactions, and fire and forget, they will go through. On Tezos, you have to make sure that one wallet, that one transaction with a wallet has been committed, and then you can submit another one. So you have to develop some tools around that to wait, to sequence your transactions, these kind of things. And the other hard topic about that was the storage fee management, which had to have us develop exceptions. So because the calculation of the fees was approximate, so we have to either overpay for the transactions,
I remember that,
or develop very specific things to make sure the transaction will not fail or will be paid at the right price. These are the two pain points that we had, but coming from the Ethereum world, where this just comes out of the box. But I think it can still improve, and I'm sure it will.
Okay, thank you. So I keep in mind, once again, and Bilal, you were mentioning that in the previous panel, the proximity and the access to the teams, the core team, but the team building the strategic tooling is important. I think it's something we should keep in mind. Next question for you, Pierre. So Lugh, which is the entity that deployed the Lugh Euro stablecoin, just got registered by the IMF, which is the financial regulator, one of the regulators in France for financial assets. So you are today a PSAN, prestataire de services actifs numériques, so virtual asset service provider. You are registered. What does it mean for you as a French company?
Well, I think like from day one we wanted to be regulated. So we had long conversation with the regulators before the launch of the project, and the file for being PSAN took a lot of months, but now we are regulated, so that's a huge milestone for us, because we are the first Euro stablecoin to be regulated in Europe. So now we can expand, and we will be able to distribute our stablecoin directly to the customers without intermediary. And well, it will allow us to launch several use cases, and maybe I can share with you some of the use cases that we are currently exploring. So the first one is with corporates, so treasury management on one side, and also international transfer. And especially because we are a subsidiary of Groupe Casino, we know the difficulty sometimes to transfer money, especially between South America and Europe. So now that we are PSAN, we can address these use cases. The second one is about NFT projects. And we have a lot of discussion with some NFT projects to see how to price the NFT with a Euro stablecoin, especially to onboard non-crypto friendly users. Sometimes it's more easy to buy an NFT with a stablecoin because you are not exposed to the volatility of a crypto asset. And also for the NFT project himself, you receive, or for the seller, you receive a non-volatile crypto asset. So a stablecoin makes sense. And now that we are dApp, we can do it. The third use case also is for pure crypto players. So now that we are regulated, we can distribute the stablecoin directly without intermediary to exchanges, market makers, and so on. So I think like being regulated now opens a whole new set of opportunities for Lugh. And so yeah, we will expand in that way.
So it's an excellent transition to the next question. So because we see that Lugh is indeed available on the Tezos blockchain, but there is still little liquidity. So what initiative do you plan to take to make Lugh more liquid on Tezos?
Yeah, that's a great question, and that's our key priority for 2022 is to increase liquidity.
We try to help.
I know that, and we appreciate. But maybe I think it's worth taking a step back to see on the progress that we've made since the launch. So when we launched in March 2021, we only launched on CoinHouse, and it was in a closed loop. Yeah. So you couldn't withdraw the stablecoin from CoinHouse, and it was kind of a pain point. And it was also because we had to deal with the regulator to say, okay, we let you issue the stablecoin, but it has to stay in a closed loop. And a few months ago, we got the approval to do some wallet-to-wallet and to open to new partners, and we did it. So now we are live on Mon Pèlerin, we are live on MoonPay, the leading on-ramp, we are live on Vert. So liquidity should come. You can now list your NFT on Rarible with our Euro stablecoin. You can buy it on Mon Pèlerin, you can withdraw it on your wallet, and you can create some pools and some Tezos DEXs. So things are going on the right direction. But I agree that we have to make some effort on the liquidity side. And that's why we have decided to build a liquidity strategy on three main pillars. So the first one is being listed on centralized exchange, obviously. So we have a lot of discussions with Taiwan exchanges, sometimes discussion quite painful, quite long, but I still that we have to be listed on centralized exchange to increase liquidity. So that's the first pillar. The second pillar, I think, is being present on Defy. And that's why we already have a pool and plenty. We are trying to maybe open some new pools on other Tezos DEXs. SmartLink, for example, I think would make sense. URL Doga pairs and so on. So yeah, we definitely be present on Defy. And the third pillar of our strategy is to serve as many use cases as we can. So obviously, payments, cross-border payments are a huge use cases between Africa, South America, Europe. Obviously, trading and so on. So we have to multiply the use cases, and I think the liquidity should come by the end of 2022. We hope.
Hopefully, yes. I think the NFT space, and Tezos is quite strong within the art and culture space, and trying to have the possibility to buy or sell NFTs with Lugh on an NFT marketplace would make a lot of sense. As you mentioned already, Rarible, the integration with MoonPay and Vert is really interesting in that sense. And I can tell you that many times the adoption team of Nomadic Labs is facing the demand of having the possibility to pay either stable coin. So I would chase in this direction. Next question for you, Bilal. So you were one of the first to launch your decentralized application on Tezos with the project EquiSafe. I remember it was in 2019. And very simple question. Why at this time, and I know some of part of the answer, but why did you choose Tezos? Or I would say, why did you choose to migrate from Ethereum to Tezos for EquiSafe?
After the first client we did. So basically, yeah, I told a little bit of the story earlier. So when we did our first transaction, so EquiSafe, my first company in the summer of 2019, was responsible for the first real estate transaction in Europe. So we handled the 6.5 million euro transaction of a real estate mentioned between people and using blockchain. And the first version of our project was on Ethereum, and we wanted to do the transaction live in front of everyone. And everybody was saying, "Hey guys, you're crazy! Don't do that. It's the demo effect. You're gonna fail." But we are crazy, but we're not idiots. So we still kept doing it, but we've done a lot of tests just before. And about 10 minutes before, a member of the parliament was supposed to validate the transaction. We've done a test, and the network was congested, and he was saying you have to wait an hour for the transaction finality. Like, what? And the member of the parliament was here, and obviously the demo effect would have been a flop. So obviously we paid a lot of gas so that it happened in half a second, but and so everything went well. The demo effect was good, but we saw straight the limitation in terms of gas cost and scalability of the Ethereum network. And then I've been discussing with someone who became managing director of Nomadic Lab at some point, and he kind of convinced me of looking into Tezos. And I've looked into Tezos, and the community was amazing. At that time, I only knew the people from Nomadic Lab, and I come from a research background, so I kind of felt familiar with the environment. So that was a huge plus. And then obviously the potential of the technology, the upgradability, the fact that it's proof of stake. It's very interesting for corporates because they know which node is validating the transaction on Tezos, and it's very important for corporates. The Tezos Foundation is also audited. It's important for corporates, and all of those are facts that helps you build partnerships with existing entities.
Thank you, Bilal. So, Jorick, you mastered Tezos, but also Ethereum. And my question is the following. Which tools do you find interesting on Tezos? And which ones would you like to see in the near future? And the second part of this question is, what dApp would you love to build on Tezos if you had the budget, unlimited budget, if you had the budget of the Tezos Foundation?
Sure. Yeah, regarding the tools and ecosystem, I mean, I've been working on Tezos for Lugh. I started with you like 2 years ago. And I can say that in 2 years, I mean, the ecosystem came a really long way. I mean, we started with some tools. Yeah. And now you see like there is like a tremendous and so much good enabler to develop cool things like Taquito, for example. That's a really strong point. I mean, I know that 99% of the people making dApps, they use this, and it works great. I mean, the documentation, the team behind, everything is evolving fast and moving forward. So that's really cool. My concern in terms of like developing side, I would say more is like the infrastructure. Like, and I know things are happening right now, so I'm saying this, but maybe tomorrow what I said right now will be already too old. But like when you develop on Tezos or any blockchain, you need what we call nodes, to push the transaction on the chain, and the public infrastructure was not the best at first, like some issue regarding the reliability. But now of course it's better, and I know that there's some actors like Exion with Exanodes, they start to work on some solution regarding this aspect, because the reliability of the service depends 99% on the nodes that you are plugged to. So it's moving forward. There's still room for improvement, but it's really moving forward. And I guess like an Infra-like or Alchemy-like on Tezos would be like, yeah, pretty awesome. The other aspect that we worked a lot with is like the block indexers. Actually, the same. They are evolving pretty good, whether it's TZKT or TZStats. Like, it's really improving. It's really nice, and there's like a nice follow-up and nice support over it. So the ecosystem in general, I would say, like, if you take a snapshot 2 years ago, 1 year ago, and now there's a strong improvement, really strong improvement. It's pretty impressive, actually, because it goes really fast, and there's a very strong community. And I mean, I guess Nomadic is like, I would say, stimulating all that. But outside of this, there is a real community outside of Nomadic, and there's tons of like projects that helps developer day-to-day basis, and that's pretty cool. Regarding the second aspect of your questions, like. I don't have a killer idea for any breaking out dApps, but I guess what the Tezos ecosystem needs, and Bilal was talking about it, it's flagship project, something that move forwards the adoption. If you take Dogami, for example, like the adoption, like it's insane, and people move beyond the fact that it's on Tezos and beyond the fact that it's running on blockchain, actually. So I guess the budget's not really about, okay, which kind of development you're going to do. Of course, it should be quality and stuff, reliable whatsoever, but it's regarding the adoption. How you're going to move forwards to a massive adoption, how you're going to move forwards to usage that will embed users as easily as possible. When you speak about blockchain, and there's like some blocking doors, like private keys, passphrase, whatsoever. All these doors now, there is way to make them more and more seamless. If you take wallets like Kukai, they were showcased during the Canvas presentation. It's a really seamless way to onboard users. And I guess I would put all the budget and efforts regarding the adoption and the user journey to grasp the biggest adoption regarding whatever you're going to build. So yeah, that's very much my cue, and it's pretty much what Ubisoft did as well with Quartz. Like the user experience, the journey, it's really seamless, really cool, and I guess that's the key point to massive adoption. It's really encouraging to see like big corporations like this moving forward and trying to make things easy and to bridge with the blockchain without speaking of blockchain. So
yeah, I agree with you. I think that we have not maybe to think in terms of dApp, but in terms of verticals. And I think we are seeing something really interesting within the art and culture space where there is a lot of organic traction. And I can tell you the efforts of the adoption team are less and less important, and in a sense that it's less and less difficult to have new projects building on top of Tezos within this vertical. I think we made a very courageous first step in the gaming industry with Ubisoft. I mean, you did that, but in terms of mass adoption, I think it's a real vertical and really important vertical. And decentralized finance will come after, I think, but it's really important as well. Okay, so Louis, coming back to Ubisoft. During the development of the Quartz platform, you and your team had to solve several technological challenges, not necessarily related to Tezos. And in your opinion, what are the barriers that need to be overcome in Web3 for blockchain to be massively used in the gaming industry?
Yeah, so I'm directly jumping off Jorick's point about the UX. And of course, it was very important for us to have a smooth user experience. Of course, when you're targeting a lot of players, you have to have something easy to use and fast and not in your way. And we had a great UX designer that did the job for us, and in added to this result, so it's doable. So user experience is like the first point. It's been the main point for like the last 5 years.
Yep.
In crypto. We knew it would be the pain point, and it's still a pain point. It improved a lot, especially when integrating with wallets, for example, the kind of online social login wallets kind of things. But it's still a long way to go to have a very smooth experience, but it's going in the good direction. This is like one the main thing, one main technological point. The other one is more philosophical to me. It's more about where what Web3 means. For me, it's just not about a game, a product, which is a Web3 product. It's about the users. It's about the players. So we will have Web3 players. We will have Web3 users. Of course, they will have to use Web3 platforms, but the focus is on the player, on the user. So they will have their identity. They will have the Web3 identity. Some people call it the Web2+3 identity, so Web5 identity. And it goes through like bringing back the value to the user or to the player, so making him in the center of this interaction. So he owns its identity, his history, all the NFTs, for example, that he owns makes his identity, and for us, for me, and for Ubisoft as well, it's what matters. It's and from that, when you have the players, these Web3 identities, then you can build games around it, platforms around it. That actually makes sense. And the last point, that's very important as well, and that's actually preventing a lot of companies, big corporations, but also startups at some points, is regulations. So our hands are tied to the regulators, and you're making a lot of efforts toward this. And it's good news that Lugh is actually now a SAN provider. So it's moving, and when we will be sure, and everyone will be sure that it's safe, actually safe in the financial world to operate with blockchains, then it will blow.
Yeah, I agree with you. And this regulatory instability sometimes makes projects launching in a very anonymous way. And we can see with, for instance, a famous NFT marketplace called Lugh on Ethereum, which is completely anonymous. So yeah, but I don't think it will scale. I think if we want to have mass market adoption through big players like you, like Casino, the regulatory stability is a necessary step indeed. Yeah. Bilal, to finish this panel, could you tell us what are the dApps you and your team would like to build on Tezos, and what are the dApps you are building?
So I've been wondering an app for the past months to give utility to any NFT, whether it has been launched or not yet. I don't want to say more because otherwise, but basically I think I found a way to give utility to any NFT in any point in time. So very exciting because I think there was a lot of hype with NFTs because it was introducing new value proposition. But now again, what's important is not just acquiring the people, it's also keep them engaged through time. And so that people use their NFTs through time, they need to have utility of those NFTs and diverse utilities. For example, it's not because an NFT has been issued by Casino that it can only be a voucher for Casino. The idea is to couple that to say, oh, Casino and Dogami, they've done a partnership, so if you hold a Dogami NFT and a Casino NFT, you can get to that event or claim that voucher or claim that other content. So pretty exciting. And the other project I'm working on is a permissioned DeFi ecosystem. We were talking about regulation. So we want to implement a KYC layer around the DeFi ecosystem so that we can plug and play that with institutionals quicker.
Okay, thank you.
And bring a lot of liquidity also.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time and for your interest in the Tezos technology.
Thank you, Hadrien.
Thank you.
I think we can stop here. If there are some questions, maybe we can take some. Reid, do we still have some time for questions?
I have a question about programming and development. Like on Tezos, we have this notion that's not very familiar for most of developers, like functional programming and formal verification. And does it change the way that you build your dApps? And is it easy to learn and to work with this new philosophy?
We didn't go that far to formal verification, but we trust that the actual grounds of the Tezos engine and the languages that are built on top of them are constructed in the sense that it's actually safe to use. For example, for Quartz, we use the archetype language, which also takes the functional aspects so actually mimics the way the same ground that Tezos is built on. And this language itself is using some formal verification things to make sure it's actually built correctly. And thanks to the completion team, by the way, that supported us while developing these contracts, we trust that they are okay, and they have been audited as well. But just the fact that they are built this way makes us confident that it's actually safe. But we could also actually go further, but it would require some more work to do formal verifications of our contracts. Even though our contracts were actually not so complex, just NFT. But
if your question is it easy to do formal verification? No, it's not. But you can find a bunch of tutorials on internet, and you have the community here to help you. Like we learned with Nomadic Lab people, so.
Yeah, and also just if I could add, like now there is Tezos has gone a long way towards standardization. So depending what you're going to do, it's the same. You can go in some different, very specific phase of development. But mostly you're going to end up doing something that is probably already standardized. And so the room for, I would say, creation and modification will be small compared to the basis that is already offered and was already audited and is already powered by the community. So it's not really far. You shouldn't see formal verification as the key point there. It's just like take Tezos from a developer standpoint as any other technologies. It offers different aspects, but in terms of the way you're going to engage yourself, it's pretty much the same.
Thank you for a very interesting discussion. And I have a question about, I want to hear your opinion about the NFT and physical objects connection projects. I know that there's a few projects existing on Polygon, and is there any interesting projects on Tezos? Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, there is one. As far as I know, there's at least one, maybe others. But and Denis is maybe here today. He was here yesterday. I do not see him, but it's a project called Compelio.io. It's built on Tezos. They are based in Luxembourg. And if you want, I can make a connection. Yeah. You wanted to add something?
So about mid-May, we've launched an art gallery. We, as Paris Lab, we've launched an art gallery in Barcelona. It's called Lézard House. So you can check it out on Twitter. This art gallery is specialized in what we call digital to physical art. So it's phygital, but in reverse. And the positioning of this art gallery is that we only showcase physical art that has a technological process in its creation. So for example, an artificial intelligence who builds sculptures. And what we do is that we have an NFT platform on the side called Artos, where we sell the NFT of the art pieces. And this NFT both is the 3D rigged asset, but also it's the intellectual property of your art piece. Also embeds commercial rights to allow you to use these designs, and and you need the NFT to be able to claim the physical art piece. So there are a bunch of other projects, digital to physical, in Lézard House. Again, you can check it out, Lézar House on Twitter, and you have all the links and all the art exposed.
I've been told that if you scan the QR code at the entrance, you get an NFT, and then you can claim merchandise. So that's actually physical, tangible NFT.
Any more questions?
All right, let's give a big round of applause.